Drone photogrammetry might already be outdated. This tiny 360 drone just did what used to take full mapping workflows in under 5 minutes. This is the Antigravity A1, and today we're turning this 100-year-old tower into a full 3D model.
Hey guys, Dylan Gorman here, and welcome back to another video. This one's gonna be a little bit different, and I know I've said that before, but it truly is. I'm using a 360 drone. This is not something I usually cover on this channel, because when I first heard about using a 360 camera on a drone, I thought it was a gimmick. I mean, I have done it before on some other drones that I have built in the past just to get a different kind of perspective, but when it comes to the real world utility of it, I didn't really think much of it, because I think most of us are familiar with using the standard fixed field of view cameras that drones like this have, where no matter where you're looking, it's exactly what the drone is looking at. Where with a 360 drone, that's not the same thing. And so what I've gone ahead and done is partner up with the Antigravity team to really understand why this drone exists and why you might actually be interested in this over a standard fixed field of view camera drone like what I have to the left of me. And what we're working on is Project Eternal. The idea is to preserve a bit of cultural heritage, and that 100-year-old tower actually has a lot of history here in Tampa, Florida. There actually used to be an entire hotel and spring and all these other things that water tower actually used to provide utility to. It has now been decommissioned for quite a while now and is honestly quite a staple here in Tampa, Florida, that I've always just been wanting to create a 3D model of it. And that typical process of using a drone like this would just kind of take forever. Where using a 360 drone, from what I initially thought was not going to be even anywhere near good enough, until I actually threw it up in the air and saw what it can do. So spec-wise, what is this drone? What can it do? What can you expect out of it? For starters, this is a 249-gram drone. On top of that, we actually have about 40-minute batteries, and this set that I have right here actually gives me 3 total batteries. So I'm getting about 120 minutes of flight time for an entire set of batteries, which is more than enough for what we're gonna be doing today. Camera-wise, we've got 2 cameras, which will give us that full 360-degree view. It's giving us an 8K 30 frame a second video. That actually matters a lot, especially when you're doing full 360 video. The more resolution that you have, the better the quality is going to be, which sounds obvious, but the fact that we're getting 360 degrees versus just a standard fixed view of a focal length camera like this, it's a big deal. There's also a lot of different automated features within the drone too, some standard orbit features, these spirals and different zigzag patterns that you can do within the actual controller itself. And speaking of controller, you're not using a regular 2-stick with a bunch of buttons on it. Nope, instead you're using this trigger-based control. It honestly took me about 2 minutes to figure out the full controls of it, and then again, the fact that it's full 360 degrees, we have a full augmented reality lens here, really headset system that we can put on and truly look all 360 degrees in order to capture and look at wherever we want to look at in the drone. You'll see a little bit more of that once we actually get out into the field. So what is the objective here? Why would I even use this drone to do a full 3D model versus a drone like this? Again, because it has that full 360-degree view, I don't necessarily need to be looking at the object that I'm capturing. Instead, I can actually just fly around it a few times and get enough data, more data in fact, than what you'd be able to get with this. Now, there are some trade-offs, right? With the standard photogrammetry that you'd be doing with a standard system, you're getting multiple high-resolution images. Where with this, you're having to do a series of that with full 360-degree view compared to just a standard fixed view. So you will get a lot more of your environment on the AG1 with its 360 setup, but I actually think that helps it more than hurts it, because traditionally, in order to get your full perspective, you have to shoot all the way around in a full 360-degree manner with a standard system. This does it in one shot, and one shot it excels at. So why don't we actually go out into the field and see how easy it is to do a full 3D model capture in less than 5 minutes.
Now that you know a little bit more about what this drone is and what it isn't, let me take you through the entire workflow. in all, this should take about 5 minutes to collect the entire tower behind me so that we can generate that, or really create that 3D model that we were talking about at the beginning of this video. This is gonna be super simple. Yes, there are a few automated modes that you can fly this drone in, but we're gonna do everything fully manual because I honestly think it's a lot easier and you can just get the job done that much faster. But like I said, we're gonna start the timer right now in collecting this entire tower here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my goggles on. I've already got the drone booted. And really all we need to do is just take it off. So we're gonna start the props. And we're taking off. So what you're taking a look at in my goggles right now, this is the full view. And in fact, if I start turning my head, right, I can see exactly, well, 360 degrees all the way around. And honestly, this is such a trippy way to view a drone because typically I'm so used to just seeing one thing in front of me. Now, this little screen that you're seeing at the very top, that's actually where my controller is looking. So that little crosshair is exactly where my controller is looking. And then you can see when I come back center, we have the little guiding, I guess like tracking point of where my controller is at. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get some altitude here and I'm just gonna spin the drone around so that we can look at the tower. I'm gonna do a very systematic approach in collecting the actual data that we need for it. And the best part is we're doing all of this in video. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you can actually see how much recording time I have available. One is for the goggles and one is for the drone. And up in the top right-hand corner, we can see what video mode we're in. So we're gonna be shooting 8K 30 frames a second. So why don't I actually go ahead and get close to the tower here. And when I look up and I point the controller up, you can see that the drone increases altitude. There's also dedicated buttons directly on the controller to increase, decrease the altitude, or even spin around freely like what we're doing here. This is not me looking around, this is me controlling where the drone's actual position is up in the sky. So the way we're gonna do this, I'm gonna go ahead and click the record button. Okay, now we're recording, and simply all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get the drone a little bit closer here. Okay, and the best part is I can look down, and I'm just going to slowly go down. And we're gonna do this on about 4 different sides of the actual tower. There is a bit of obstacle avoidance kicking in right now. That's because of how close I am to the tower itself. That's why you can hear all the beeping going on. All right, now we're gonna spin. We're gonna move forward a little bit, spin back around, and now all we need to do is just go up. And I'm just gonna go at a relatively decent speed right now, about 3 meters a second going high. Now, why exactly am I shooting video and not taking photos? Well, if you know how videos work, they're just a series of individual images stacked together. In this case, 30 frames per second gives us 1 single second of video. So what we're gonna do when we actually break all of this up is, specifically in the software that we're used to process it, it's going to cut up every single second into individual frames of every single position that we are of this tower here. And given it's a full 360-degree camera, well, guess what? We have full view of everything. Not just what's above the drone, below the drone, in front of the drone, behind the drone, but literally every possible angle that you could get. And this is why we're able to collect the data this quickly on the tower compared to the traditional mapping ways, where you literally have to fly and collect individual photos of every angle that you want to get of this tower. So we're just going to keep flying up here. All right, and one more position left. And I think I can get a little bit closer to the tower here. There we go. Now, we'll just fly down. Ensuring that we're being smooth and consistent with our flight. I know I stopped a few different times here, but that's okay, because we're gonna have more than enough video, in translation, photo data, that we'll be able to extract out of this. Now the last little flight that I wanna do here, just go a little bit lower in this segment right here, just so I can get behind, okay? We're gonna go all the way back up on the tower, and I'm just gonna spin us around here. And I'm gonna do one little halo ring around the top, that way we get the crown of the actual tower itself, and that should bring us at about 5 total minutes of collection time. Yes, I know I'm close to the building. It's beeping at me. All right, cool. So now we'll just fly around the building, or I should say the water tower. Okay, there we go. And what's gonna be great is I'm gonna get all of this graffiti information in this entire flight that I just did here. So now I can stop my recording and we can fly back home here.
Landing.
There we go. It's literally that easy. We took less than 5 minutes to fly this entire tower, collect all the data that we need, data being the video file that's 360 degrees. All that's left to do is take that little file off of the drone and throw it into our processing software so I can show you exactly how we're gonna take that flight and turn this tower into a full 3D model.
Now that we return back here from the field, let's go ahead and dump all of this data, really just one video file, onto the computer, and I'm gonna walk you through exactly how we're gonna turn that video file of us flying around into a full, really detailed 3D model of that water tower. Now that we're in front of the computer, let me show you exactly how we're gonna take that video file from the Antigravity A1 and turn it into the 3D model that we're taking a look at right here. It should not take that long at all. So what needs to be done first? Well, the first thing that we need to do is actually get that video file off of the drone, which I've already gone ahead and done that and thrown that onto my desktop. We can see it's about a 7 GB file, and it's the INSV file. So the A1 is from Insta360, and this is their proprietary file format that captures that full 360-degree video. The next thing that you're gonna need is the MipMap application. This is the brand new tool that recently came out that supports doing the 3D Gaussian splatting that we're about to do based off of the data that we just collected. It's actually a super easy process, and we're gonna walk through it right now. The first thing that we want to do once you have MipMap installed is click on a new project. This one, I will call this the water tower. We'll go ahead and click confirm, and then we're going to input a video file, that's INSV. But you can see there's actually a lot more that you can do with this MipMap application. Maybe we'll cover this in a little bit more depth in another video. The focus for today here is doing the 3D Gaussian splatting, which is directly supported with this drone here. So first, what we're gonna do is on this Photos tab, we'll go to this video, we'll click on it, and I've already opened it up to the Antigravity A1, and there's that video file that we're just taking a look at. I'm gonna click on Open, and on here, it's gonna basically do that photo extraction, like what I was explaining when we were out in the field. All that's gonna happen here is from that video file, given that we were shooting in 8K 30 frames per second, every 30 frames equals 1 second of video. So in total here, we've got a little over 5.5 minutes of video. Looks like I forgot to stop recording there, but you saw it only took us a few minutes to record that entire video there. We're gonna go and tell it, hey, for every single second, we want you to pull out a frame. In this case, what I actually want it to do is pull out a frame for every 0.5 seconds. From there, we click on confirm. And in total, it's going to extract about almost 1,400 frames from that video file that we have here. So if I click on confirm, this will take a few minutes, so I'll go ahead and let this finish up here. There we go. Now that it has extracted all of those frames, we can take a look at each side of it. So given that this drone has 2 cameras, one on the bottom and one on the top, and if we take a look here on the Photos tab, we actually have both of those cameras split up. So we have about 700 photos for the top camera and 700 photos for the bottom. Makes a lot of sense here. The next thing that we want to do is put our reconstruction quality to ultra high, and then scroll down. We do want the 3D products to be turned on, and then we want to make sure that we turn on the Gaussian splatting option, and we can turn off the textured model, and we'll make sure that the point cloud and Gaussian splatting are on. And then if we wanted to, we can do some water surface flattening, but I'm just gonna keep everything default here. All that's left to do is click on Start Reconstruction. Now that reconstruction is going to take a little bit of time depending on how powerful your computer is. So I will say, just please be patient. 3D Gaussian splatting is a newer technology, and there's not a lot of applications that exist out there that can actually produce the results that we're about to take a look at here. given there is a lot of compute that's going into it. It's brand new machine learning algorithms, brand new processing methods. This is a little bit different than the structure from motion. This is how photogrammetry for software like Reality Scan, Pixel4matic actually work. They're using a structure from motion algorithm plus a few other different algorithms to generate the outputs that we are accustomed to today. Those 3D mesh models that we see all of the time. But 3D Gaussian splatting is a little bit of a different process and takes a bit more compute, but can produce results that photogrammetry and 3D models from photogrammetry couldn't even come anywhere close to. And it has to do with the way that it reproduces water surfaces, tinted glass, the highly reflected glass. It actually looks like reflective glass and water, not this weird blob or shapes or just missing holes in your actual data. That is the beauty of 3D Gaussian splatting and is one of the reasons why I think it's going to take over the drone industry, or really the 3D modeling industry, just because of how beautiful you can get these models. And why don't we actually take a look at what our final output is from flying this actual water tower here. And you guys will actually be able to have access to this model here. There's going to be a link down in the description for you to click to look at the Super Splat that I am hosting this on. This is all web-based, so I don't even need any processing power from my computer to view the final model. But as we can see, if I zoom in here, look at the fidelity of this. I mean, even look at the trees. To be able to get something like this from photogrammetry wouldn't even be possible anywhere come close to the fidelity that we're getting here. But don't even mind the trees. Let's actually look at this model. I mean, man, this looks absolutely fantastic. Even if we zoom in here, yes, it's going to look a little blurry and meshy in certain areas. But if you were to compare this to the 3D model that it would have generated in terms of the mesh, it wouldn't even come anywhere close to what we're taking a look at here. I mean, just take a look at this. We actually can see the graffiti that is inside of here. Like that is incredible. But I think with what the Antigravity team are putting out hardware-wise, the ability to go and do a 3-minute capture of what we have here to then be able to produce this kind of model, absolutely incredible. If I were to do this with standard photogrammetry tools and workflows, it would have taken about an hour to collect all of the photo data that I would have needed to come anywhere close to the output that I have here. Now, granted, I could have taken those photos, say it would be 7,000 photos in total, and put it into a processing engine. Yes, it would come out much better quality, but you also have to think about the effort that it takes to be able to generate something like that. Where with 3D Gaussian splatting and using a system like the Antigravity A1, in 3 minutes to be able to produce this, phenomenal. But it really is that easy to just fly and capture, throw it into that map software, and then get an output like this. I mean, this is a no-brainer when it comes to doing the cultural heritage preservation that Project Eternal is really going after. But with all of that, I have a few final thoughts to close out this video, so let me meet you back in the main part of the studio here. And that's gonna do it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to give it a like. If you want to see more from me in the future, be sure to subscribe. And drop a comment down below on what you think about a 360 drone. I know it's not what you typically expect in the drone industry, but I think we're starting to see this trend in technology being stretched beyond what we thought it could do. And I think this is the perfect case study of that. If you guys want to pick up the Antigravity A1, there's a link down below that you can check out. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.